what we are going to do now is to understand what we intend to do and why we should be doing. So first, we need to understand that there are three levels of pleasure or happiness. One, what's the difference between pleasure and happiness? One second. So pleasure, when we use the word pleasure, it means that something which is having a light feeling in the body and the mind. So you will have no pressure, and hence there is pleasure. So when we say it's pleasure to meet you, what we are trying to do is to not have any pressure. So if we are in pressure, meaning if you're watching breath and it is you're putting effort to watch the breath, then it is pressure. So there is no pleasure. So the objective here is to get the pleasure. Senses have pleasure. So meaning to say that whatever we like to see, we see it, there is pleasure. And same thing with hearing, tasting, touching, smelling. And when these five were to combine together, then the mind will start to go around it. Let's say I like some place, and that place is very beautiful. But now I'm not in that place. When I'm back at home, I start ruminating that place to get back the pleasure. That's fine, actually. So there's 6 senses, and each one of the sense doors represent pleasure and pain, sukha and dukkha. So basic aim is to have pleasure. Okay, and we do everything for pleasure, including relationships, to everything around it, job, all the things is for pleasure. So we don't mind taking the pressure to get the pleasure. Okay. Now, is there a way to get the same pleasure by not going through the senses? So that's the second kind what we tried doing this morning. And when you have that pleasure, it turns into happiness. So we don't have to pursue happiness, it just happens. Like when I have a pleasure of something, of the senses, of the sight, sound, taste, touch, smell, then I have happiness. I feel happy that whatever I wanted, I got it. So that's the whole idea of this pleasure cycle. We like the pleasure and we do everything for pleasure. So if somebody wants to say that there is no pleasure, he's wrong. There is pleasure, and senses have pleasure, and senses provide happiness. If that was not the case, by now we all would have killed ourselves. We never would have good homes or good car or good environment, good fruits, good vegetables, etc. The reason why we want all of that is because we know the pleasure and we know the quality of life when we say it's a pleasure what we are talking about. So we have all products, all concepts, everything for the pleasure, for the sake of pleasure. Okay, this is the first thing we need to know. Now then the question comes, is the sensual pleasure the ultimate pleasure? There's no other pleasure which can be compared to senses. And the answer is not. We have better pleasure than the senses. But one noting point, if somebody has not experienced sensual pleasure, he cannot understand what is this other pleasure. So it's not about suppressing the pleasure of the senses. It's about understanding through wisdom that the pleasure we get out of senses is far lesser than the jhānic pleasure. Some cases we try to go on a pauper mode, that even if we have, we don't want to do anything about it, and we start leading a what Buddha calls two extreme. One is going towards one extreme of sensual enjoyment, another one is where you hurt yourself, that the person thinks that by doing that way he gets a better pleasure, and that's wrong. So Buddha Dhamma is about middle path. That means neither seeking the pleasure as in Kāmasukha, nor hating it, or actually troubling oneself, or basically hurting oneself of not having to go through the senses. So both are wrong. Both are two extremes. So what is that I need to do then? I need to see the senses for what it is. Know that there is pleasure. So if I wear good clothes, there is pleasure. If I go for a bath, there is pleasure. You can't say that bathing doesn't have any pleasure. If you brush the teeth, there is pleasure. Okay. To everything we do, eating, everything has pleasure. Now, when we come to the jhānic pleasure, first we should satiate or look at the drawback of sensual pleasure. Meaning, if you pursue the sensual pleasure, it takes more time to get. Let's take my visit to Brisbane, and then if I am in pleasure of that, now I'm in pressure of not being there. That's what I'm getting. Unless somebody again calls me and say that, why don't you come? And then I come, but that much time is lost. So no matter what I think, I will not be able to get back 2 weeks ago what I had, or 3 weeks ago, or 4 weeks ago, like that. It's not going to happen. So to redo it, it's an effort. Okay. Now, is there a possibility that I can do exactly the same thing without moving an inch from this place, and far better pleasure than the Brisbane pleasure? Can I do that? It's quite possible. So there are three modes of entering into it. The first mode is by watching the breath. Okay. The second mode is by understanding the body itself. So where you dissect the body, like what is done in Vipassana retreats of Goenka, where you look at the sensation and sensation and sensation and let go of it. So then you get a stage called a dhara prava, which free flow, and you get a bhanga. That's the ultimate of it. The second way of doing it. And the third way of doing it is that you understand this body, cut it into 5 parts. One of earth, dhatu as in the quality. One is the apo as in the liquid quality, like that. If you dissect this body into 5 parts, and the consciousness comes out. Just like in Bhanga stage, you get light, or somebody can see it as particles, and not only the body is particles, the whole place is filled with particles. So once you get that bhanga, dissolution, that means the solidity is gone. Basically, the consciousness now has escaped this compactness. So it has given up compactness. So when it gives up compactness, it doesn't want to be going back into compactness. So we can do it by these 3 ways. One is breath, another one is what Goenka teaches as Vipassana or Ubakin or whatever Burmese tradition talks about. And a third way is the Sutta way, where you can understand the dhatu and the ayatana, and then that is the senses and the quality of elements, or 5 elements, and then you can basically enter. Yep. So this is a way we can understand these senses, in Pali ayatana, as limitation. it cannot go beyond certain things. So looking at that, we can get out, that means the ayatana now let go of the sensual object pleasure. That means an object is required for the senses to take it. Now, if we were to get into a stage of non-objectification, and then the pleasure can be increased. That means letting go of objectification removes the kama. Kama as in sensual. It's from two words, ka, ama. Ama is putrefaction, basically. So what is not good, like, somebody has packed a pack of shit and then put a nice covering on top of that. Our skin is like that. It's like a shit, and then on top of that, you have a nice skin. So people are enamored by the skin, but not what lies under the skin. Under the skin is filth, but the skin, when it's covered in a nice way, just like we package it, it looks pretty decent. It looks attractive. So the objective of the pleasure of the senses is to modify the original way it is. Like the house, it's just made out of wood and bricks and all that, but then when you polish it, it looks good, like what Chanel is having. Something similar to that, or anybody's home, or this home. It's all the same. So basically, we try to make it good by painting. So this guy has painted, and the cot here is polished. So just like the skin, same is here. So what if I get to see the reality that under the skin, it's not good? Then the kama is gone. The chanda means interest. So the interest on possessing something as an object by the senses are gone. In its place, the senses now receive a new pleasure. Okay. So two things are going to happen. There's a change of perception. So it's all about perceptions. So one perception is right now that this house is beautiful. This house and that house. But now the senses drop both the houses, and sees that there is no house except for the construction and some floors and some this, some that, and all taken together. It's manufactured. So then it sees that this body is also manufactured in the same way. There's no difference. So when I understand that the outside is also manufactured and the inside is also manufactured, then the mind lets go. Now we need to understand what is mind here. Main thing, what's mind? Mind is that which can perceive and feel. So the senses, like the eye, something come on the sense door, can perceive because of consciousness and feel. And this feeling and perception is there in consciousness. And consciousness is part of the mind. So there is nothing separate as a mind, except that it can ruminate itself. It can go in circles. If nothing is given to it, just like a cow doing it in the mouth, we keep on doing that. Like I can say, when I was in Brisbane, or when I was doing this, when I'm doing that, that type of going around is happening in the mind, irrespective of the senses. Meaning the eye sense is not in Brisbane, the ear sense is no longer in Brisbane, the tongue sense is not in Brisbane. Like I had a nice dosa and idli with Merin, but now I can only remember. Or the discussion what I had with Merin and Bobby or Janak and Deepthi, I can only remember. That remembrance is rumination, because that experience is not there. But mind can recreate that, even though the remaining five senses are not able to perceive it. Meaning to say, the dosa or whatever I was eating at their house is no longer available. But I can create the taste by bringing from my memory. When I say dosa and it comes, and then I say idli, it comes, and then when I say poha, it comes, and then Marin used to give me a huge cup of tea. So very nicely made tea. So I can remember what a tea I used to drink, and then or at Janic's place. So I can only think, or at Viren's place, nice tea. So when I say Viren's place, the mind can exactly go there. And when I say we went to the park and then we sat there, so then the same thing can be, it brings back. But none of the five senses at this point in time can go to that place. So this remembrance is a vomiting basically. You can't really enjoy, you can't suffer, but I now want it. That is how the craving comes. Like my drive on that, Bobby gave me the car, so driving on the motorway, I might or might not get another chance. But now, what I can do at this point in time, I can ruminate that, I can bring it up, saying that, it was nice to drive. So then the mind leaves this body and goes there. That's the basic thing about mind, is that it leaves the body all the time. So it goes on the circular argument. So that's the reason Buddha calls it as a whirlpool. So it leaves this place, goes another place, eats and comes back. So I feel pretty happy, but it is created happiness. It's really mentally created happiness. There's no happiness. So the very next moment there is sokha, sorrow, because I'm missing my life in Brisbane. So what to do? And Shaniel is calling me in November, but I can't wait. Can anybody sitting there call me in between? I want to be back on the motorway. I want to go back to Sunshine Coast or wherever, whatever it was. This has to be cut. If I could cut it, and then it can enter into jhana. And that's the reason Buddha says, Vivicheva kamehi, vivicheva akusala dhammehi. Vivicha means use discretion and remove that, seclude it, throw it out, because you're not going to get it back. Like three of us went to the coffee, nice coffee, really nice coffee. Better than the Saravana Bhavan coffee what I had in Brisbane. And it's half a price or quarter a price of what we paid there. But then, can I get it back? But I can remember. So can I remove the rumination from anything I'm doing? That means not going in circle. Just leave it there. Just had it, finished. Just saw Brisbane, finished. Just met people, finished. It's done. Nothing to be carried. Nothing to be baggaged back here. Or when I come back to Brisbane again, I'm bringing Bangalore there. As a role, I'm playing a role of a husband. I need to give a call to the so-called wife, because she's playing the role of a so-called wife. So so-called husband is calling so-called wife to find out how she's doing. That's it, over. And so-called person is playing so-called son. So you just inquire how the so-called son is doing. So then there is no rumination. You're just doing it just for the sake of doing it, because that's your ownership, responsibility, if I could say. If I could stay like that, then the minimum thing I'm doing is to have the third jhana, which is sukha. Because wife cannot give sukha, but then the jhana state can give me sukha. Husband cannot give sukha, but the jhana state can give me sukha. The children cannot give sukha. The house cannot give me sukha. The job cannot give me sukha. So I'm cutting off all of this and entering into sukha, irrespective of what the outside environment is. It doesn't bother. So what we did in the morning session was to understand how to enter into the sukha, happiness. The only rule of thumb here is that you need to cut out all the 5 hindrances. If you have 5 hindrances, or if I have 5 hindrances, it's not possible. Let's say I have an argument with someone and I want to get into sukha, not possible. Because mind will not let go of it. It has to let go of everything. Sabbhupati pati nisaggo. That means whatever it has created, it has to let go of it, throw it out. It's okay. Then it's fine. Then I can get into jhana. Okay, so this is the thing we need to know is senses do have pleasure and jhānic also has pleasure. So you are letting go of one to take the other. Then you let go of the jhānic pleasure for the more profound pleasure, which doesn't change at all, is nibbanic pleasure. So now there are 3 steps. First step, sensual, shouldn't hate it, neither you should go behind it. Okay? That helps to establish in jhana, because then you come to upekha, equanimity. You're equanimous to the situation, or I'm equanimous to the situation. Whatever is presented, I'm not taking sides, this side or that side. I'm just equanimous, straight. Now when I see there is no compromise in the pleasure, I'm continuing on the pleasure. No pressure at all. So when I stay like this for a long period of time, okay, the mind lets go of this sensual state forever. When that happens, along with that, the irritation, agitation, expectation, all of these on the senses goes away. At the very moment of that, it reaches a state which is called as anagami, which means non-returner. Agama is to return back to the sensual world. And human world is the like a we can call it as a junction point. It can either go down or it can go up. Now, what happens here is that the sensuality, meaning not about the human kind of sensuality, even the most refined sensual state can also be dropped. Okay. So mind itself gives up the pursuit of sensual. So that state of existence, when it lets go of it by itself, not by force, not by doing something, not by not doing something, it's neither doing this or not doing that. When it stays in the middle, not taking sides, the flame is still, like a flame, stilled. It's stilled. The chitta, which is the flame, when it is stilled, it lets go of everything in its path, not holding on to anything. And then it becomes anagami, non-returner. So it cannot come back. So this kind of existence. That is, it lets go of the limited pleasure forever. So that means this, after breakup of this body, that means when the consciousness really comes out of the body, of the five element body with five senses, since the sixth sense is already established in an anagami state, it jumps to that realm instantaneously, doesn't have to wait for the bhava to end. That means it's circling with the human bhava, but now it has transcended that. Meaning, after this body breakup, it cannot take the five elemental body and return back to the womb existence, because no longer feasible. So it get established in a jhānic state, fourth jhāna, and stays there. And that way of staying is suddha, pure, vasa, abode. So pure abode. So you are entering into the purest form of stay, where the flame doesn't shake. So the objective of looking at the jhānic is to get into anagami. That's the next junction point. After we have understood the senses have pleasure, letting go of sensual pleasure will take there. Then comes the third and final step in this, where any kind of existence is a pain. It's not about non-existence. It's not about existence. Any kind of spending time is a waste. So can I now move from the jhānic pleasure to an ultimate pleasure? This should be the ultimate, meaning there's nothing beyond this. Is there a possibility? So now I can see the senses, six senses have conditions. If the condition matches, like in Brisbane, the condition matched. So Bobby and Marin and Jhānic and their family thought that I can come to Australia. I got the visa. So then I came there. So that means it's condition oriented. It met the condition. So I was in Australia, but I couldn't stay for long. Now I'm back here. Now what to do? Now this condition again has to be met. And now question comes, can it meet the condition? Can't say. So now can I drop the condition? Yes, I can. Jhānic condition is also the same. You have to create a condition. So you're sitting and you're watching the breath and you're doing everything, and then the condition matches. Then only you enter into jhāna. So we can see putting the same amount of effort in senses gives a little enjoyment. Putting the same amount of effort in jhānic gives more enjoyment. But can there be a state where there requires no effort at all? Absolute no effort. Just stick on to the samadhi and it automatically stays there. Can there be a state like that? And the answer is yes. You have to master 4 arupa jhanas to get there and drop the arupa itself. So first thing what happens is the vedana is the feeling of being in the jhana is cut. So there's nothing to experience. And to say this is the experience, you require a perception. So now neither there is a perception and nor there is a feeling. then what happens? The flame is gone. Till what time? Till whenever it wants. It can come back, but at present the flame is switched off. The light is switched off. So can I be in that state? Yes. And that is Nibbana. So then what happens? You, at the dying moment, when the body is cutting off on the consciousness, that is, the body is breaking away and the consciousness is supposed to depart and climb onto the next existence. The fuel is not there. The fuel of existence or non-existence itself is not there. So, bhava vibhava in Pali is not there. Without bhava, you can't go anywhere. At least you should have vibhava to go somewhere. So, if there is no bhava, there is no vibhava, then you cut off craving at its root, because craving takes bhava vibhava. Kama is there, that is already cut off. So then only two things are remaining. One is on the bhava, to become this, or not to become that. So either you take this or that. Let's say I drop this and that, thisness and the otherwiseness. Ittha bhava, anyatha bhava, both are removed. So it cuts off a state of vibhava, that is, not to become. Then the consciousness waits. If there's no fuel provided, it extinguishes. Just like, that's the reason Buddha gives the simile of a oil lamp. You give oil, it keeps on burning. If there is no oil, the wick cannot be on its own because it is conditioned. You remove the condition, just goes off. And you can't ask which direction this went, in the east direction or the west direction or the south direction, north direction, northeast direction, northwest direction, or whatever direction. It makes no sense. So it's a wrong argument. Can I be in that state while working? No. So can I be in the jhānas while working? Yes. That's the max you can do. Working in the sense that working in office, working with family, working with people, working with whoever. You can't get into Nibbana and then try working. It's not possible. Because it's extinguished. So can I again put a oil? Yeah, you can. You can put oil and light it. It again comes back. But this time when it comes back, it's a changed mindset. Doesn't have the same mindset. It has a changed mindset. So the first thing I need to have is Rupa Jhāna. 4. Completely able to go whenever I want, how much ever I want. So I keep on drinking the pleasure of it. And it is limitless, endless pleasure. Whereas if I were to drink a cup of coffee, I can't drink another cup of coffee because the dopamine will not be there. So I can't enjoy. And without dopamine, nobody can get any reward. So it is a reward chemical. Basically, it doesn't. So can I then suppress the dopamine itself? Yes, you can. You can modify the default mode network of the brain and they can completely throw it away. Just like the hardware device, can I bypass the hardware? Yes, you can. Absolutely, you can. And throw it out. You don't require. That means I can bypass I can transcend. That's the reason they use the word transcending. You transcend the same hardware, but without connecting it. So the neural network is completely changed. It is not the same network. It's not a different network. It is part of the same network, but the registration of that network is totally different. It's on a different protocol, a different way of experience. So it's not the same, not the different. And hence you can see the default mode network is totally junked out. So the neural plasticity can be developed. You can create new networks and then you can throw out the old network completely, not connecting in any way. So then the synapses don't happen. So the habitual tendency to connect the same network will not happen. It's gone forever. You can't re-register it because you have deregistered it. Just like the IP address has been removed. So then there's no way you can connect back to the same network, no matter what was being played there. So it's dissolved, it's gone. So this is the way of entering into the four jhanas, rupa, because it has a rupa as a source, meaning from this bodily experience, you are going into the next level of bodily experience, which is subtle than this bodily experience. The same eye, what it was seeing, now sees something different. The same ear, same nose, same tongue, same, everything looks same, but it's not really the same. So the experience, what is happening on the body before having coffee, let's say, and then coffee is giving caffeine. So the caffeine is making really charged up everywhere, and the brain is excited. The chemicals are coming out, but then it will depress because after it wanes out. Now, why don't I throw out the coffee flavor like this, replace it with Jhānic flavor? And then it re-registers a network. So then the coffee flavor is gone. It doesn't mean I don't want to drink coffee. I can. But the tongue is not waiting for the coffee to touch and then the dopamine is created. It's not required because it's already in that state. So it doesn't ask for necessity of pleasure in that. So I have changed the network and then it is something totally different now. It's not the same, nor it is totally different. It is neither of them. No absoluteness. It's just you change the address. Where it was going, you change it to some other address. So it points out to that. It just keeps on pointing to that. So it seems the information is going here, but it is bypassed there. Just transcends there. So can I then do like that? Yes, the four jhanas have rupa as its backup. It always goes with rupa. Rupa as in this, whatever is happening on the body. And then you drop the form itself completely. No form. And the consciousness now actually doesn't require a form to get a feeling. It can get without that. So form creates feeling, feeling creates perception, perceptions create the preparation of choices, and that whole train together gives you an experience. Now what I did, I removed the form. On what will the feeling stand? On the jhānic bliss. So what's the perception I'm getting? The meditative absorption experience. This is staying on that. Now what is the choice I'm making? I'm removing the connection to the networks, which I don't want, and reconnecting it to the network, which I want. So this, irrespective of what is happening outside, like sounds coming on this road or whatever is happening, it's basically cut. So The ear can't hear anything from outside. The eyes cannot see anything from outside, like that. Even though the same equipment is there, this equipment is the same, but it is now experiencing something different. So when it happens, it creates spaciousness, complete spaciousness. That's the fifth of the absorption, wherein it cuts off the body. It just removes it. And not only it removes the body, it removes the perception of anything that is solid with some boundaries. So it is boundless. Actually, the happiness till now was bound. Now it is boundless. It's unbound. So you just get into like a space travel. It just seems like you're going and going and going and going. And the bliss what you get is far, far better than what the Rupa was giving at this point in time. That's the first one. And when it happens, you get to lose the sense of time and space. And when that happens, you become just aware, conscious. It's just awareness of awareness. If you can't say this is eye awareness or ear awareness or whatever, it's just aware of awareness of awareness. It's just being aware. And when you are there, it's infinite consciousness. It's just being conscious as a whole, not as a part. Like now we have so many people sitting here, it's a part, it's not a whole. Whereas I will get into a stage which is a whole, not a part. So the people feeling, the animal feeling, the birds feeling, this feeling, that feeling, everything is removed. It's just a conscious feeling, just conscious, nothing else. And after that, you come to a final self, no self experience, which is no thingness, nothingness. There's no thing in anywhere. So when you enter that state, the subject is there, object is removed. Eye is there, nothing to see. Ear is there, nothing to hear. Nose is there, nothing to smell. Now there is no the feeler as a person at all. So I don't feel I'm seeing, I'm not feeling I'm hearing, tasting, touching, smelling, and thinking. Because thoughts have already gone in the first jhana. So there's nothing called thinking. So it just gets into like a, what we can say, it really experiences not having any gravity. It's a gravity-less feeling because you can't explain what it is. It's just void. It's just being in void. There's no centrifugal force. There's nothing. You can't experience anything as I experienced. It's just void, in the void. And that nothingness will take you to the next perception, last perception ever. Is neither your conscious nor your unconscious. Meaning, consciousness has two, feeling and perception. So the perception is so low, it's not worth clinging to any perceptions. So the I requires an object of perception. And since I've entered voidness, beyond voidness is a little fair amount of perception, a little one, a very minute perception. And I can't say when this is going to come back, if at all it's going to come back. So I can calculate and say, okay, before I go here, that is when I'm in sixth jhana, sixth absorption, I can say within myself, meaning within this default mode network I'm transcending, I can put a statement saying that wake me up once you get this. Like Bangalore to Sydney, you wake me up when Sydney arrives, and when the air hostess say, we are going to land in Sydney in next half an hour time, or whenever the Sydney word is used, and that's a perception. So till that time, just like you go to sleep, deep sleep in the night where you have no perception and hence no feeling, you go into this trance state of existence where it is deep sleep, just goes deep. That's it, it closes. So when did I enter, let's say I moved out of India, and when they gave me that lunch or dinner, whatever that was supposed to be given, it was dinner while I came from Bangalore to Sydney. After the plate was removed, 5, 6, 7, 8, eighth absorption before you go in the sixth. Just make, I don't need to be woken up till I get this. So mind will register that and it's off. And after that, if you want to push further boundary, from boundary, this Rupa Jhāna, Arupa Jhāna boundary, which is formless realm, you want to move beyond, just remove the perception. That's it. Now there's no feeling, there's no perception. Then you have ended, the journey ends. You have a body, no, it went away in the fifth jhana. You have consciousness, that went away in the sixth jhana. Was anything there, went away in the seventh. Can you still perceive little bit in the eighth? And then the perception is completely removed from the consciousness. Now it is pure consciousness, just consciousness. Not my consciousness, not your consciousness, not this consciousness, that consciousness. There's nothing like any labeling. Just consciousness. Has no perceptions, no feelings, because the senses no longer can take it. So you have gone to the end of the senses, which is the eighth jhana, and cut off the sense. That's it. Now no longer rebirth is possible in that state. So these are the steps, why we follow it, how we follow it, and what's the need to follow it, so that you can look at, yes, sensual pleasure is sensual pleasure. Jhānic pleasure is jhānic pleasure. Nibbānic pleasure is nibbānic pleasure. So all the three you can see, oh, this is sensual, this is jhānic, this is nibbānic. And beyond that, that is at the time of death, you go into the jhānic and stop there. So the parinibbāna means there's no further existence. It's done. So this is what I wanted to tell on what we did in the morning, or what we tried doing in the morning, is to remove the hindrances, remove the hatredness, remove likingness, polarities of existence is liking, disliking. I don't like this, I like this. So remove that and enter into this existence and drop the existence altogether. So it just goes off. The flame is ended. Any questions from anyone? I think I'm done with this.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I think this was an excellent overview of the whole process. I think it's worth watching again and again.
Yeah, sure. So there's only three states: sensual, jhānic, nibbānic. The three states. There's no fourth state. Three states. Yes, May, go ahead.
Can you get to anagami level if you can't get into the arupa jhanas, or is that impossible?
It's impossible to be an anagami without experiencing arupa.
Thank you.
Because you need to experience all the jhana. Then the kama chanda is completely gone.
What about the panya vimukti? They said that you don't need the arupa jhanas. Is it?
No, you don't require jhanas at all.
So that means that person skips the anagami level, or maybe not skip, but is briefly in the anagami level and goes straight to arahant.
Good question. So let me explain from the panya path. Okay, so what happens in the wisdom? Number one, wisdom is he loses the rupa, the form, through discretion, through analysis, through knowing it. He can see the rupa appear and disappear, like not going into the bhanga stage of goenka, where you are literally putting an effort. Okay, that's still not the one, because you shouldn't be sitting for 10 hours or this many hours and this many time frames and all that. It just happens. So he knows through wisdom, panya, that the form has no form, has compactness. So if somebody were to ask him that, have you encountered bhanga stage? And he might say, what is that? I don't understand what you're talking. But if somebody were to ask, is this body compact? And he would say no. So if he is in that, he's already on the upekha side of it, which is equanimity. So he doesn't have to necessarily go into the jhānic thing. He is removed from the chitta state, that is chitta vimukti, which means liberation of, say, chitta is mind. So they call liberation of mind. Instead, he's going on the liberation through wisdom. So the chitta, the mind, doesn't hold this rupa experience at all. It knows there is nothing in that. So he reaches an immediate void state of existence. In this, there are two voids. There's one caution there is that asanya loka. That means no perception. There's only mind existing without perception. So that's one loka. If he skips that, let's say, and then he gets into the seventh jhana, the voidness. So he knows everything is void, meaning there's nothing inside the consciousness per se. Let's say there's nothing inside a wife, there's nothing inside a husband, there's nothing inside a child, there's nothing inside a home, so to say. So he doesn't have any liking, disliking, or anything to do with that concept. Example, if somebody were to take out his home and go, and he will be laughing because he never had any home. So what is he picking up and going? Or somebody came to his house and took out a TV and went, or stole a laptop and gone, and he would be smiling at it because he never owned one to lose anything. So that's a voidness. And then one step beyond that lies this without perception and feeling. So he can become an anagami through this method, or rather he becomes an arhat just by not seeking anything at all. So he skips the step of the cheto vimukti, which is sanya vedita nirodha. Instead, he directly enters into nibbana. So this four-step process for a panya vimukti, or a liberated through wisdom. Did I answer me?
Yes, thank you very much.
Sure. So which one do you want? The first one or the second one?
If one can get into those arupa jhanas, obviously that would be great.
Yeah, so that's the main thing. But one thing, one caution point: shouldn't be hating or liking anything. So, shouldn't be hating sensuality, because that will become a showstopper to get into the jhānic. And shouldn't be liking sensual as well. That means I know the limitation of the senses, like the coffee, like my Brisbane visit. It's short. It's pretty short. Pretty means pretty short. Like you can't even enjoy anything out there. Just going here, there, here, there. Need not be here, there means we are going around the place. No, the time ticking, ticking and ticking and ticking is going here and there. So there's nothing like stopping the time. I want to stop the time. There's no time. There shouldn't be a time state. The timelessness is felt when you go to the deep sleep. So the basic idea is to get into timeless. There's no time. And there's no space. Space-time construct is a mind, it's a mental construct. So I need to transcend the space and time. So then I get into the jhānic. Yeah, May, go ahead.
So you say in like Vedana Nupassana that when the sensations, you just see it as pleasant, no, unpleasant and neutral. I guess that's the way, if you have the, I get senses,
Yes.
triggering of the senses. Is that
Yes.
how you do it?
Yes. So there are many Vedana or feelings like, Samisa, Niramisa, and all that. That means connected with senses, connected with no senses. So the jhānic is Niramisa, and this is Samisa, which is mixed with. So you will come to see that. Yeah, Chirag.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
So when you say there's no time and space, I think the space you're talking about is the different space than the five elements. Space.
Yes, the spaciousness, the space as in the space, not the fifth space, what we're talking, and the five elemental space. It's just the space.
Right,
Time creates space. So now what it means is that you have tomorrow. That's a space created. I can say Sunday. Tomorrow, what is tomorrow? Sunday. That's a space created. It's a mental construct.
Right. Because I think in any case, still, everything arises and passes away in space.
Yes.
The fifth element, space, right?
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, I think that's all we had time. There's only Panya Vimukti. What is that Panya Cheto Vimukti? Vimoksha, that is moksha. Liberation. Also can be. No, the moment you don't have any symbolization, you are in Vimokha only. Like Brisbane is a symbol. Bangalore is a symbol. On that stands liking and disliking. What if you don't make a mental construct of Brisbane or Bangalore? See now, time and space. How much time would it take for me to fly from Bangalore to Brisbane? It takes 14 and a half hours. So I've created space of 14 and a half hours. That is nimitta. So I will remove the nimitta, so the symbol. So then am I landing in Brisbane? No. Am I landing in Bangalore? No. Am I in Bangalore? No. Am I outside Bangalore? No. I'm nowhere. That I is nowhere. No footing. So just to cite an example, what I really had done when I was leaving to Brisbane or even to San Francisco, when I left the house, this house, when I went outside on the road, I removed the concept of this house. Now there's only concept of the car. The car is there, so there's only concept of the car. When I got down from the car, throw the concept of the car. You have only airport. But when you enter into the airport, there's no airport, right? Once you enter, it's only building. So now you are in a building. You don't call it as an airport. Just that. Then when you're done with your immigration, other things, and then you're in the flight, remove the airport. Now when you're on the seat, like this seat, why should I create a flight? It's just a seat. It doesn't matter whether this seat or that seat or whatever seat, a seat is a seat. So the vimokha is happening in steps. So this is there in the Chula Shunyata Sutta. You make shunya empty. You keep on creating emptiness. Like Sheniel, he goes out of this house, wherever he's sitting. He can remove the house. The house is gone. And that's the truth. When you are outside house, there's no point in thinking of the house. And when you are in the house, there's no point in thinking outside the house. But you're done. So here you can use two. Panya vimukha, meaning through wisdom. And I know this house is temporary. When I go out of this house, there's no house which is existing. Yeah, or I can go through chitta vimukha, which means I will go into the jhana and see for myself there is no house. So if I go by the panya way, I can do the same thing. If I go by the chitta way, I can do the same thing. For both, I require animitta. Then it appanihita, desirelessness. Then shunyata. So what I need to do when I took Qantas is to remove Qantas. It doesn't matter whether Singapore Airlines or Qantas or this airline or that airline. Sitting in the seat is a seat. So my seat was 49B. And that's it. And when I close my eyes, is there 49B? No, it's just a seat. So am I traveling from Bangalore to Sydney? No. Then where are you traveling? Nowhere. Wow, beautiful. Now can I enter into the 8th jhana? Yes, why not? So what it does, it puts you in the deep sleep. Not sleep as what we sleep. You are watching everything, but you are not participating in anything. So there's no perception. So just sit. If you want, you can have your eyes open and you're sitting. And the air hostess is coming and going and coming and going. You're not looking like this and like that. Just something comes and goes. Something comes and goes. There's no real perception. Now what happens? There's no tiredness because you never traveled. So when you again say, when the announcement is made, we are landing in Sydney in next whatever, just comes back. Okay. Now that's a Sydney, right? I don't know what is Sydney, basically. So I just land. And when you come out of the flight, there's no Sydney there. Where is Sydney? I don't know. And nobody knows either. So when you enter into the building, it's just a building. So the plane is gone. That seat is gone. 49B is gone. And then I'm there in the airport, so-called airport, right? So-called airport. Then I had to call Merin. So I created Merin, brought a perception of Merin because she had called. So then I called up saying that just 40 more minutes left to take the flight to Brisbane. But now I have to create immigration. So you go, just create immediately the immigration. Then you finish that. Then you keep creating and destroying. Create, destroy, create, destroy. So you are making animitta and nimitta. You know you are doing nimitta, right? It's just a nimitta. You just make, and samudaya nirodha. So you are basically happy, irrespective of what is happening, because you don't even exist. So when I landed in Brisbane, there was nothing as a travel, no travel. So 14 and a half hours was void. That's it. Shunya, yes. So when I saw Jhāna, you again bring back. You can't be standing like this. You have to bring back. You create it, recreate it. And then talk to everyone normally, as though everything is normal. But inside, it's just flowing, it's just flowing, it's just flowing. You're not part of it. It just flows. That's it. Done. Okay, should we now get into that act meditation? Okay.